time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielson, Matt Kassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Two Guys and a Goalie, the morning, or I guess afternoon now, after a loss for the Oilers to the Boston Bruins. We'll definitely get into that. You can text us anytime, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Penner's Pancakes already in with some hypotheticals in the nasty chat, so we'll certainly get into that one. Dusty, Gager, and Cass with you today. Cass, what's going on, buddy? How you doing, man? Cass muted?
Yeah.
Cass, are you muted? Did you mute yourself? Right
no,
off the start.
I mute.
Oh,
I think
my
it's
God.
the system that automatically does it.
Oh, blaming the system now, are we?
Well, I didn't hit mute when I first got on here, so whatever.
You know what, Cass? It's not like we've been doing Two Guys and a Goalie for 4 years or anything.
What episode is it?
I don't know. I don't know what it would be now. Like since we started Edmonton Sports Talk, we haven't kind of been like labeling the number of the episodes, but it's got to be up there now. I'll have to go back and count through all the podcasts.
Be 400, I think.
Oh, we got to be over 400 now, I think, because we do two a week.
Yeah,
we got to be over 400.
Yeah.
And we're all wearing the same hats today.
I know.
And we didn't even text each other. That's amazing.
No.
That's
great.
That's great. Penner's Pancake says Cass didn't do his hair. Is that why you're wearing the hat, Cass? You just didn't do the hair today?
I didn't know. Yeah. I did not do my hair, which is why I wear the hat. Usually that's why one wears a hat. Yeah.
Not me. I wear my hat all the time. Now, that being said, I never do my hair, so I guess that's why. But look at my hair. I don't need to do my hair.
I did mine.
You know, your little scruff on the back there looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks pretty good, Gage. It looks pretty good. All right,
where's that jersey? Why aren't you wearing it?
Yes.
I couldn't wrestle it away from my daughter this morning. I don't know if she wore it. Yeah, she.
I mean, I know you were telling me that yesterday, but I texted you. I'm like, please tell me you get to keep that jersey because those are pretty awesome. Like they look pretty cool. So I was pretty pumped when you got it, and then when you said your daughter's probably going to steal it, I was like, yeah, well, it makes sense, but hopefully it doesn't happen. So
yeah, no, it's they look even. You know how you like from distance, a jersey looks good, but you get up close, like the numbers are like it looks like carbon fiber.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's pretty. They're gorgeous jerseys. I mean, I had like 3 offers to purchase that jersey last night walking around with it, and I was like, I better not put this thing down because someone's gonna scoop it if I do. So,
well, worst thing is your daughter's gonna sell it at school today and not tell you about it.
Yeah.
The ultimate twist.
Yeah, daddy, look, I got $50.
Well, yeah, let's just dive into all of that stuff first. Gage, it looked like a good time last night. You and a bunch of the guys back together from that team back in what year?
2001.
Okay,
yeah,
that's what I thought. Yeah.
No, it was awesome, man. George in town, and Big George is. He's a hoot, and it's always fun to hang out with Brownie and stuff. And I mean the jokes and things that we're going through, and Brownie yelling like it's our month and stuff, and it was pretty funny. The burn. I think I had the burn of the night. We're watching, and it was the 2-on-1.
Yeah, when they passed to Brown.
We passed to Brown, and I yell out, "It's the name!"
That's a good one.
So I burnt Brownie there, but no, it was an awesome time. I didn't know it was so. We were so involved. Like we had pictures before with a lot of people, and of course, I said most people there just to see George.
Of course, yeah.
But it's just fine. And then, but we go, okay, we're gonna go down to the ice before, and we were like, "Excuse me." I didn't know we were going out on the ice and it was funny because the girl was saying, I've never met 3 guys that shouldn't be, but they were the most nervous going out on the ice. Well, I didn't know what we were doing or anything like that. And it still reminds me of being a player, like the delay. You always hated that as a player, right? Like people doing stuff before, can we just start this thing, right? So, I mean, it was cool. Louis was there, and high-fiving Louis and going off. But yeah, it was a super fun night.
Yeah, it looked like a pretty fun night. You got to chat. Well, you chat with Gino all the time, but
yeah,
in a different way.
It was complete. Yeah, I was doing the little hit before, which was kind of exciting, and seeing all the guys and they go, "Hey, Gager," and so I kind of know what we were. Yeah, what we were kind of. I get what we were doing and stuff, but it was nice. just to kind of talk about something completely different too, right? It didn't have to.
Gene didn't ask you about the Marchand short
No,
side
he
snipe
didn't.
on Skinner.
He didn't have to ask me any of those technical questions, but no, it was good.
Cass, you had the game last night too. Oh, who's this?
Oh,
Yeah, I was at the game last night. We did it with a little date night for myself and Mandy, so it was good. It was good. It was so I took the night off from doing the pre and post just to hang out and to actually watch. So yeah, it was a fun game. It was a good game. I mean, Gager, like I said, I love those jerseys. Pretty cool stuff going on around there, which was fun to see. So as I get the door closed and get everyone out of the room.
I was going to say, do you have all three of them in the room there with you? Or?
No, the other two were at school, so just the one she decided to make an appearance. So
you know what? Speaking of kids, I have a birthday party at 2:45 today for Elizabeth, who turned 7 yesterday. Birthday party today at Clip and Climb, so you go climb the rocks and then whatever. 18 kids.
Wow.
We got 18 7-year-olds, 6, 7, or 8-year-olds coming to this party this afternoon. And I said to Tam, like she asked me, I totally. Like a month ago, she's like, "Hey, how many kids should we allow at Elizabeth's birthday party?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. Like, what do you think?" And she goes, "Well, like 7 to 10." I said, "Well, what does she want?" And she goes, "Well, she's got a list of like 20 kids." and she's my little girl. I was just like, it's her birthday. Let her have what she wants.
Yeah.
So then we're having dinner like 2 nights ago, and I said to Tam, I said, "So how many kids are coming to this party?" She goes, 18. I was like, "What the hell? Why are we gonna have 18?" And then I instantly said, "Hey, this is not just a parent drop-off party, right? Like, don't you just come and pawn your kid off, and we got to look after 18 of them climbing on this bloody wall." And she goes, "We are suggesting that parents stick around to help with the clipping and everything." And so I got a 2-hour whirlwind coming this afternoon, which there's nothing better than like when it wraps and you're done and you're like going home after. You're like, "Oh, Elizabeth had a great time. Nobody broke anything. Everybody got some pizza. And now we get to go home for the night." Like, it's going to be a lot though. 18 kids is a lot. Luckily, my wife's a teacher, so she can handle it.
She's got the skills.
I'll try to see if anything needs to go get picked up, and then I'll leave for a bit and then come back. That'll probably be okay. But 18 seems like a lot. Is Cat's not frozen. I thought maybe he was frozen for a second. Okay,
no, I'm just listening to the great stories.
Yeah, you haven't gone 18 deep on a birthday party yet, have you?
Not 18 deep. No, we had like 10, and that was.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that was enough.
I mean, outside of work people, I think I'd max out about 6 to 8. Like I have like 6 to 8 friends I could invite to a birthday party. She's already way cooler than I ever was at any point in my life. It's just. Yeah, I like to say it sucks, but I'm pretty proud of her. So that's a good one. It'll be fun this afternoon. Okay, we have to. Well, Cass, you said you guys were there, probably sitting in the stands or a loge table. What was date night like? What was
We were in the stands. No, we were in the stands down in the alumni lounge a little bit. Actually saw Glue Guy. So he
didn't weasel his way into the alumni lounge, did he?
No, I debated.
I was gonna say.
Debated taking him in there. Then I was like, nah.
Don't unleash him in there just yet. Let's not do that.
So I didn't take him down in there. No. But yeah, no. So we went out to dinner before, then went and some pretty good seats there to sit and watch, and yeah, it was good. I was really tired by the end of the night. Like I was exhausted.
Late.
That was a crazy night. Yeah.
That like you get that, like you don't really start the game till like 8:20 almost, and it's like, man, like
because of Gager.
Yeah, sorry,
it's his fault.
Yeah,
of course. She's Gager.
But like I think it's funny, Cass. You mentioned like it's late for us, and I probably stayed up and tweeted about 30 to 40 minutes of the pregame or postgame, and then I was like, man, I gotta go to bed. Like, but I was just thinking, like, that was an amazing game. Like, the Oilers didn't play great. We'll get into that. But that was a fun hockey game to watch last night. And when it ended, it would have been after 1 a.m. out east.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's just, that's such a waste of a great game. People aren't staying up after 1 unless you're a hockey hardo or an Oilers or Bruins fan out on the East Coast. Like,
yeah, especially playing Boston, right? Like, you're playing a team from the East. Why is the game starting at 8? It just doesn't make sense to me. From a scheduling standpoint, like, oof.
I threw this question out earlier. This is where we'll have to start for this one. Gager, what was the most concerning or disappointing thing about last night's loss for you?
I brought it because we're similar in that time span.
Closer back then
than it is today. And the fact that a short side goal was considered. You just don't do that. You know, it's not a good goal, and they drive me crazy. And to hear Ronnie just go nuts, I apologized to him after, because I let in a lot of those back when I played, and he probably drove him even. That's why he hated me so much back then. But no, I'm kidding. It's a different way to. And I find that those goals should not be allowed. As a goalie, you should be able to cut that angle off. He made a great point where defensemen didn't give up the middle as much too, and I mean.
Back then,
you know, the guys came down the sides and wired it, but you positioned yourself in a different spot. And man, you look at the Marchand goal.
The moment that one went in, right away, anybody watching, I was watching at home after a birthday night, and I instantly was just like, can't happen.
No.
Like, it can't happen. I waited for the replay once to see if it was like right under the bar, but it was right here.
Right, yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, it was it was a terrible at that time. You know, I talk about the silencer a little bit, and it's funny being in the rink, and there was no sound on that. And sound's a big part of goaltending too.
Is it really?
Yeah, you hear like when a guy's shooting a bit and the sound it makes, and just that quick little silencer wrister. It looked like it caught Stuart Skinner completely off guard, you know, and just not prepared. So yeah, it was they're tired goals. I've said it before. He looks fatigued with the types of goals that he's allowed.
One more. There's a couple, because we had questions earlier on the show today, as well, when you were on prior to Hot Takes and we were talking about it. Like on the Marchand goal, the tiredness on that would be not challenging a bit more on the shot, or just the reaction to the shot.
It's the focus to start the period, first of all, right? Yeah. And the looking at the positioning, there's a number of things that just he's not prepared for. That it's a mental thing that you do as soon as the puck gets to a point where there's the possibility of you making a save or the puck going in the net, right? As soon as that puck crosses, I would almost say the red line, you have to be fully engaged and start looking at possible situations. Where's everyone coming from? Is this guy on his off wing? On his all these things are processed that before that even happens, and it just seemed like his hard drive just shut down.
You guys aren't going to like my take.
Okay.
Well,
please don't say it was a great shot by Marchand.
No, I'm not going to disagree with you on the goals that went in. But in my opinion, that game could have been put way farther out of reach if not for Stuart Skinner at the same time. I thought he made some other really good saves, and I know, again, I'm not going to argue. You say some of those should have squeezed them. Would have liked to have them saved. Not going to say that. Not going to say sneaky, tricky, whatever. But I will say there was a couple opportunities. The Oilers gave up way too much in front of their net. A couple really clean looks from the slot, and I thought Stuart Skinner also made some really, really good saves. So, well, I think it's fair to point out and to say that we didn't like those goals. I also got to point out to say that without Stuart Skinner, I think that lead would have been stretched another 2 or 3 goals.
Yeah, but I think the way that Stuart Skinner, the way he's progressed to this point now, Cass, I consider him an NHL goaltender. And again, I've said that every night he should be considered to be one of the 3 stars with the play. He did make some great saves, but in goaltending, you can make all the great saves you want. It's the back-breaking ones, the ones that you should have stopped that go in. Those are the killers. That's the difference between an American League goaltender and an NHL goaltender. You have to do something special to get the puck back. Everyone's going to let in bad goals here and there, but to allow those 2 goals, and I look at the Pasternak goal and the Marchand goal as those are the stoppable pucks, and that's the difference in the hockey game, and that's usually what you get from those high caliber goaltenders is you don't get the freebies. There's no freebies. When you play against Connor Hellebuck, you have to do something special to get the puck past him. Vasilevsky, you have to make a great shot. You can't be giving free goals, especially to a good team like the Boston Bruins.
Cass, anything on that?
Yeah, you can't be. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you on some of that. Flip side, and I think Penner's Pancakes pointed this out too in the nasty chat, is that Swayman played even worse. So
the goals against Swayman, I was going to bring that up because I saw that text too. Like Swayman had a couple of stinkers last night too.
Yeah. They were saying last night was a tribute to Grant Fuhr. With both these
Classic 6-5, right?
Classic 6-5 game. Yeah. And Swayman with the Fuhr big save at the end, doesn't make the saves during the game, makes a huge save in overtime to give his team a chance to win.
I got one more on Skinner for you, Gage. People were asking this morning on the side, because you said there's some tired goals. When you got traffic in front of you, is it a tendency, if you're a little tired, to maybe not fight through it as much, or do you just have to play that the same way regardless?
No, I mean there's a lot of crisscrossing, right? That makes it even tougher. Like a straight screen with a guy in front of you, you can still get to a good position to see the puck, but when you lose sight of it really quickly like that, that's difficult. But I don't think that's a tired point. You have to battle through those things as a goalie. Skinner's a huge individual too. There's a chance that he can look over guys almost like a quarterback. The tendency is to sink back in your net because you're not comfortable. It's uncomfortable trying to get to the point where the deflection could possibly be and trying to make yourself big as possible. He was doing that for a while. You saw him at times sink back into his net because there's obviously a little bit of a comfort factor, I think, with him with that too. But I mean, again, the Bruins did a really good job of taking the eyes away at certain points for sure.
Cass, if Pickard starts against Minnesota, which we're assuming he will, and he plays well, would you start him the next night against Calgary too?
No.
Ooh, we're gonna have a good discussion here. We're gonna have a good discussion here.
Why you gonna start him back to back? No.
Gager?
No, you
go ahead, Cass. Finish, because I think Gage has got to.
No, I'm just gonna say they're gonna do exactly what I said they were gonna do when we talked on Tuesday, which is I'm gonna pull up the schedule here so I don't get this.
He gets Calgary and the Kings, and then Pickard gets St. Louis and Minnie. That's what you said, I think.
And St. Louis and Minnie, and then you give him space, right? So he gets Calgary and the Kings, and then he's gonna have 1, 2, 3. He's going to have like a 4-day break, or you could play Seattle, Pickard against Seattle. So you give him a 5-day break. Like you have some time coming here, and you can play Pickard against Columbus too. So if you play Pickard against Minnie, you play him against St. Louis, you play him against Seattle, you play him against Columbus. You've just given Stuart Skinner a pretty healthy amount of time to recover.
I would find it strange if Skinner's not between the pipes for a game against the Calgary Flames, but Gage, you said Pickard plays, you have no hesitation to throw him back in.
If he plays like lights out, I think I'm putting him in the next game.
Yeah.
I like the fact to give Skinner a little bit of rest right now. Seems like he needs it now, not later. Now, Pickard goes in there and pitches like a 2-1 game where he has a real solid first star-like performance. I think I'm going back to him.
780-218-9999 if you're listening on TuneIn or at edmontonsportstalk.com. 780-218-9999. And you can hit us up over in the nasty chat as well. We will get to a few of those as we continue to work our way through the show today. We're going to talk a little bit. We got to get to Austin Matthews a little bit later on. 51 goals in 54 games. Cannot avoid that discussion, but still lots more to get to from this game last night. Let's go to overtime. Cass, McLeod chips it up the boards, thinking maybe Kane can skate onto it. It certainly gets past him. Him and Nurse are both in front of the Boston Bruins, and they both head to the bench. Swayman just doesn't go out to play it. Like Mike Johnson made a great point this morning. He goes, if they just skate a little bit further up the ice, Swayman's going to come out and play that puck, and icing's going to be negated, and you don't have to worry about it. What was Kane thinking there? That was just, I don't get it. It makes no sense.
I don't know. I mean, one of them has to stay. Nurse is your defenseman, so ideally he goes for the change. Kane should have stayed, even if it's just half pressure. You're not going to get the puck first, but just to put a little bit of pressure on so that it negates the icing. I mean, it's a mental mistake. It's a mental mistake. And not a, I don't think overall wasn't a great game from Kane. I mean, a couple of turnovers through the middle of the ice, throwing a couple pucks away, where he looked a little bit off yesterday. But yeah, I mean, a mental mistake that ends up losing you a point. Really, you shouldn't have went for a change.
It was a rough night for Evander Kane. That was probably, I don't know, was that his worst game as an Oiler?
I don't know if the worst game is Oiler, but certainly worst game in a
pretty
while.
Noticeable moments though that hurt the team.
Yeah, that was uncharacteristic from him. Usually it's pretty simple. Yeah, it was crazy. I was seeing that. It was puzzling. It was a puzzling game from Evander Kane.
Well, on the post-game show last night, the other thing that came up in overtime was after the power play, should Knobloch have called a timeout to keep McDavid and Draisaitl out there on the ice? I talked about it on the show this morning, and I said I've been here for a couple of years now preaching that they have to put more responsibility on some of these other guys. So I would feel a little hypocritical if I was like, you should have called a timeout, left those guys out there for another 2 minutes, and they got like the first 3.5 minutes of overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Gage, where do you come out on the decision to not use a timeout there?
I think it was more just not giving the other team a break either. There's that to it too. I think you can, in those types of situations, especially when the team can get those two off the ice, a lot of times you see that second unit come out and have some success because there's a tendency for the killers to kind of relax too, right? So maybe that was the thinking a little bit. It's tough because they were humming it around at that point too. Like they almost scored. Swayman made an unreal save and stuff.
Ridiculous save.
I was right there. It was unreal. I mean, it was a little bit lower than
if Draisaitl gets that 2.5 feet up.
Yeah, but it was still just a ridiculous save.
Kaz, would you call the timeout? Keep them out there after the power play?
I don't know if I would have. I mean, it's easy to look now. And
yeah,
say,
I know it's easy to look back on it, right? Like
it's easy to look now. I don't think in the moment I was thinking they should have taken a timeout. So I probably wouldn't have. I mean, again, now easy to look back, but at the time I wasn't like, oh, they should call a timeout here. So
780-218-9999, 780-218-9999, or hit us up in the nasty chat as well. Gage, would you say Corey Perry has surpassed expectations so far?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because we were standing as they go out, and I knew he's a little bit superstitious with all his stuff. Like he has to be last, and you saw him come out, and he had to like touch all the sides of the door coming out to the ring. Like there's all these little things that he has to accomplish that I would find exhausting. But no, I like. Here's a guy that he's fought his way up and into top 6 roles at times, like moonlighting, which we thought he would do anyway. But his the way he's influencing games and and fighting and doing all the here's a guy with a ton of experience in huge moments in games, recognizing what his team needs. And I think it's great that you have a guy because he's going to start pulling more guys into the fight with this. I think this is a characteristic that we've all thought they've needed. And they get it from Kane from time to time. I think that's how Kane has to get his game back to a level that we've seen in the past with his physical play and being kind of that pest, right? Having 2 of those types of guys on your team, that's a lot for your opponents to deal with. So, yeah, in my mind, he's been well worth everything that he's getting paid. He's
got him for free. You're not paying him much. I mean, you can't ask for anything more, Cass.
No. And just I mean, you see the veteran feel for the game.
Yeah.
Right, like from him, and we've seen it a couple times, not just yesterday, of trying to spark some emotion and to bring a little heat when maybe there isn't some. So I've loved it. I mean, you take the instigator, take the extra 2. Your team, hasn't been great to say the least at killing penalties the last little bit, but you kind of take a little bit of a calculated risk of saying, oh, I'm going to try to jump something. I'm going to try to spark something.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's in a lot less games, and Connor Brown has scored a lot more. So that's good. You're getting it for cheap.
I
Oh, by the way,
yeah.
I think I said out loud yesterday when he had the 2-on-1, I was like, don't pass
I
it around.
know.
Don't pass it around.
I know.
I know.
I think everybody watching the game probably said that, and then he did pass.
I think I
and
actually
didn't
said it
happen.
out loud,
Did
which
you?
is bad.
on a date night with your wife. And she said,
Yeah.
"Well, you're too invested in this. You're too invested in this."
She was filming me. She filmed me a couple times, like, because I just sit there and I mutter, like I just mutter to myself the whole time, like I'm just talking about things. And I don't know if she had me filmed at that part, but I was like, "Don't pass, don't pass, don't pass." Oh, and then,
didn't happen.
Great atmosphere in that building though last night.
Wow, a wild game like that, right?
It
And
was
Bruins fans
awesome.
in the house. and-
Bruins fans, they were
Yeah.
all cocky, and then the third period, it's going back the other way, and there were a ton of Bruins fans. There was
yeah,
lots.
it was good for us. We were sitting, and we were sitting in the alumni seats. And Gage, I know you sat there a couple times, but the DeBrusques were sitting pretty close
Yeah.
too. So you had just even right in our immediate vicinity, like you had, and Jake's mom, like
Cindy.
your hockey mom. I loved it.
Oh yeah, she's
I
full.
loved it. Like just like saying things. I'm just like, this is exactly like you should be saying the same thing if he was playing in the minor hockey rink, like as a little kid. Like she probably just nothing has changed in that. I loved it. It was great.
She's giving other parents ugly stares, like, "Don't say anything about my boy." It's
Because
Yeah.
it's kind of an unwritten rule that the alumni seats, you don't have like the opposing teams. But this is
Well, they made a couple of the kids like that had Boston jerseys that tried to come into the alumni lounge. They made him go out and take them off.
I know. I heard that. That's
Kick 'em
kind of weird, but
I'm fine with it. I'm fine
Yeah.
with it. You want to go in the Oilers alumni lounge, you got to wear an Oilers jersey. You can't wear a jersey for the other team. I'm fine with that. But it was kind of funny because they were like little kids, and I'm like, they're making the little kids go change. I'm like, this is great.
yeah, it
Right,
was
teach them early.
teach them early.
Yeah, teach them early. I don't even know if we need to get into second periods. I don't know. I mean, 16 goals against in their last 6 second periods. They went through that stretch where they allowed 18 goals in 14 games, and now they've allowed like 3 more again last night. Did you notice something? Like a horrible start to the period, obviously, with the Marchand goal, and it just seemed like they just didn't get going after. Like when you watch them play from like pushing the attack level in the second to the third, it looks like 2 different teams. It's ridiculous.
It's mind-boggling how those second periods and then the recovery in the third is what's it's what's really strange to me. Who is this team? Why? What happened that you lost it for 20 minutes, but you get it back like so quickly? Usually, it takes like a game to get your game back after playing that poorly. So, I don't have the answer. The execution is awful. It seems like, I don't know about you, Cass. They can't make a pass in the second period. Like nothing's on the tape. Or I really don't have any answer for you, Dusty. It's just it's terrible.
I mean, if there was an answer, it would have been fixed at some point over the last 6 games, right, Cass? What are we supposed to say about it? It's nuts.
I mean, yeah. What are you going to say about it? There's not much you can say about it. It's just like I was debating. I didn't get a chance to ask him, but I was going to ask Ron Lowe because he was there too, and I was going to be like, Low Tide, like, what do you do about the second periods? Because like, what are you saying to the team to try to get them to wake up? Because it just keeps falling apart. Like I don't know if there are any answers. It's bizarre.
Shot callers, I think he said was.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be a good one. That'll get everybody going. I do like that. Tube Sock says second intermission orange slices is the reason. The orange slices
The
don't come
orange
out to the second intermission, and that gets every going. Spency 5 Centsy in the nasty chat says I'm still upset at Bouchard missing the net 4 times in the last 5 minutes. He did pound a few hard ones wide, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he's testing the plexi behind a few times.
Let's get to this text. Came in first time they've texted into Edmonton Sports Talk. I don't know if it's the first time they listened, but the first text. Hey guys, can we start talking about how non-existent Leon has been this season at 5-on-5 and how that plays into his contract this summer? How can we pay Leon $12 to $14 million a year when he only produces besides McDavid? We also can't blame the lack of an extra winger in the second line. If he's worth $12 to $14 million, he needs to be able to carry a line. It's absolutely not happening right now. And I mean, last night was an interesting game because I didn't think he was really a factor last night, outside of getting robbed by Swayman in overtime. I don't know if Kane, Draisaitl, McLeod really clicks. I don't know I don't know if Kane and Draisaitl has ever really sort of
never
found
worked.
its stride, right?
It's never worked. We've been that experiment. They keep trying it. There's something that just doesn't work between Leon and Evander. I tried to figure it out why this happening. I really think Leon, and it's not that Evander's slow. Like he's a quick player, but I think Draisaitl's so much better when he has just two bullets beside him that are working, and because he plays that kind of, he doesn't play at a high tempo a lot. His tempo gets way higher when he plays with McDavid. Obviously, he's scooting quite well out there, but it seems when he's away from Connor, I don't know. It seems like he tries to slow the game down and almost do too much. Like instead of just playing a more simple, straightforward, hard-nosed game and just let the skill take over from there.
What do you think, Cass?
Yeah, I think you bring up an interesting point there, Gager, in that I wonder if when he is by himself, and by himself, I mean not playing with McDavid, if he does just try to do too much. Because when he's at his best is just when he's moving.
Yeah.
Like when he's moving and when he's not trying to do too many backhand sauces through the middle. Like that's when he's at his best. And he can play quite well then. And I wonder if sometimes he tries to adjust his game a little bit, play different when he's not with McDavid as to with McDavid. And I think when he does just simplify, then he's a lot more effective. Now to the question of the contract, well, I mean, just look at his points. Like you're gonna have to pay the guy $12 million. Like, yeah, you're not gonna get him for much cheaper. He's put up too many.
He's a walk-in. He's a walk-in 12 to 14 million.
Yeah,
easy. I mean, he's probably gonna get 14 mil. It's just
most likely.
He's won everything individually that you can win. He's been on a great contract for them the last little while. I don't think. Like the guy who texted in and said, "Do we start talking about this?" I just don't know. I don't think the conversation contract's there with Leon Draisaitl. Like, if you keep him, odds are you're keeping Connor McDavid, and you're gonna have to pay both of them to be happy. And that's just how it's gonna have to be. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to trade Leon Draisaitl just because you don't want to pay him $13 million when there's a bunch of players around the National Hockey League making $13 million. It's just he's right on the 5-on-5 though this year. Like 5-on, I'm gonna have to dive into this and take a look at it because 5-on-5 without McDavid hasn't really moved the needle much.
Well, what was
so far this season?
What was the stretch where they were dominant? Was it with Fogle and McLeod?
It was with McLeod,
and
they were great there.
They were great there for like 5 or 6 games. Like they were producing at a pretty good pace. So maybe you need to look at that again, right? Nuge out of the lineup. That's a hole too. But I mean, they still.
How much did they miss Nuge last night?
Defensively,
they missed him.
They miss. There's little things that you don't see on the score sheet. I think that Nuge has. But yeah, it's puzzling to see Leon now. I'm thinking about it. Just the 5-on-5 play. Yeah, I think he's got to get to. He doesn't. Sure, he should be able to drive a line, but I think what we're getting at, Cass, is he's trying to do it all himself. Like he's a great complement when he plays with Connor, and not that it's maybe a bad word to choose, but he needs to to complement maybe a Vander Kane a little bit and not try to create everything every single shift. It's like Ekholm said, you can have just an okay shift once in a while. They don't all have to be barn burners. He doesn't just play that simple style that he actually does when he plays with McDavid.
I'm just looking at even strength points in the National Hockey League so far this year. Nathan McKinnon has 58. McDavid has 56. Kucherov, Pasternak, Matthews. Brandon Hagel somehow has 47 even strength points so far, which is like ridiculous. Elias Pettersson, Mitch Marner, Carter Verhaeghe, JT Miller, Quinn Hughes, Timmy Panarin, Matt Duchene, Timmy Stutzel, Robert Thomas, Travis Konechny, Sidney Crosby, Willie Nylander, Matthew Tkachuk, Mikko Rantanen, and then Leon Draisaitl comes in 21st in the National Hockey League right now, 40 even strength points. But that's the point was made earlier. How many of those are when he's with McDavid, and how much? What's the rate when he's not with McDavid? So we'll see how it continues to play out. It's just, yeah, I just don't think he and Kane are much of a
they're not
much
a good
of a fit.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't know, it wasn't that much, but people, I'm just going way back in time when everyone thought, oh, Taylor Hall and Connor McDavid, that's going to be ridiculous.
That's it. Yeah.
But it didn't get
it was a smaller look.
It didn't get a lot of looks, but it didn't work right away. Like it didn't, because I think Taylor was used to carrying the puck through the neutral zone. Now, Connor should have been the one doing it when they just seemed out of sync right from the get-go. And yeah, there has not been any chemistry all season with Evander and Leon.
I think we've got everything covered from the game last night. Anything else from the game last night that we haven't unpacked yet?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we touched on the second periods and what the heck do you do with that? We touched on Stuart Skinner. We touched on the overtime mistakes. We touched on Evander Kane struggling a little bit. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's much more to dig into there.
All right,
Connor Brown, you don't want to go into it?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure he scores.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure he scores. And, he has the talent to score. It's just it's coming back from an injury. It's being snake bitten. And I think this is just sort of balled up now. I think anytime he gets a chance, Gager, there's probably like full-blown panic.
Oh, it's panic. It's panic city. You can hear the carbon fiber like squeezing when he gets the puck in a scoring area. It's like
squished out.
Oh God, yeah, no, poor guy. I mean, hopefully he can get a goal, but not just the 6-2, the sixth goal and a 6-2 win, right? Something that means a little bit more, like a GWG for him. I think is way more important to break this. The ice with this first goal thing than just, an empty netter or something like that.
Cass, you think how it is matters?
It makes a difference. I mean, that's where I was really hoping, for as much as I said out loud, don't pass it to Connor Brown on the 2-on-1. I was really hoping he would, and he would score at the same time, because it's like, would have been a big goal in a big moment. And I think that would just the pure joy from it. Like, I think getting an empty net would be great, but scoring a big goal in a big moment that wins a game or ends up being a G-dub like that, I think that would just impact him emotionally and mentally a little bit more. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. But at the same time, it's like, you'll take anything at this point, really. So yeah, ideally you would have it be a big goal moment, but any goal would be fine.
I still think it happens. Odd man rush, penalty kill.
Oh,
yeah, whether it's a breakaway or a 2-on-1 penalty kill, his first goal is going to be a shorty. That's usually when he's on the ice.
I don't think so. I think the goalie's just going to make a miraculous save too.
That's just absolutely rob him. My God, it's happened a few times so far. I certainly feel for him in those situations. All right, let's get in, and 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999, or hit us up in the nasty chat here as well, and we get to a few of those comments here. We still have about 15 minutes on today's show. Austin Matthews, 2 more last night, 51 goals in 54 games, the quickest to 50 since Mario in the 90s. He's on pace right now for 76. Like, we're not saying he's on pace for 70 anymore. He's on pace for 76 goals, which puts him in that Mogilny-Solani 76 tier. The only guys to score more were Wayne twice, Brett Hull once, and Mario Lemieux once. What McDavid has done with points over the last few years is what Matthews is doing with goals right now, and elevating him into this conversation from a goal scoring perspective that, Ovi tapped out at 65. That was his high. Kais have hit 60. Matthews has already hit 60. McDavid's hit 60. Pasternak's hit 60. Stamkos has hit 60. But the fact that we're talking about the 76 on pace right now, Cass, and I went through it last night, the 51 goals that he already has would have won him the the Rocket Richard Trophy in 10 of the last 14 seasons. And he's all like, that's where he's at right now. We haven't seen this. Like, we haven't seen this in a long, long, long time.
Yeah, pretty nuts. Pretty nuts. I mean, it's going to be pretty hard not to give him the Hart Trophy if he
scores 76.
76. You can't really, you couldn't argue that for as much as I want to, because he plays for the Toronto Maple Leafs. You can't. Yeah, pretty unbelievable. Seems like he's just scoring at will. Yeah, I mean he's currently, I would say, by far and away the best goal scorer in the National Hockey League, the best goal scorer in the world as far as hockey goes. Pretty crazy, guys. Like I mean, what if he got to 80? Like,
Oh, you bang out a couple more hat tricks along the way,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden it becomes a
he might.
conversation. Like, he had 60, then last year he had 40, and now he's already got 51. Lieutenant Eric pointed out this morning, in his last 181 games, he has 151 goals,
Jeez.
which is like more than 3 goals every 4 games, which is just absolutely remarkable. Now, does it, like, him scoring 76 in the regular season still wouldn't change the way you view the Toronto Maple Leafs going to the playoffs, would it?
No. The regular season's one thing. Playoffs are a whole different beast. But I'd like to watch him live more. Like, going to live hockey games, it's I'm lucky to be able to do it, because I said it this morning, Dusty. When you see the skill level of these guys, and I just watching, I had the ISOCam on Pasternak, and he's a unbelievable goals. Like, he's a threat. There's just this guys
Is he not good?
and
Hey?
maybe it's being a goalie, but there's certain guys when they have the puck in the offensive zone, I go, he could score right now, and that's how it looks every time he has the puck. And with Matthews, it's got to be just the exact same thing. And it was funny hearing Ronnie talk about it. Like, every coach saying, "Okay, get on that guy. Don't make sure he doesn't get the puck." And he still does it. He's alone in the slot
Like
with
the
time.
50th last night, he was over kind of along the boards, and they gave it back to him, and just kind of like a little bit of an unsuspecting shot,
Yeah.
but boom, like
It's ridiculous.
it's really fun to watch. Actually,
Yeah, it is. It's awesome.
It's really fun to watch right now.
How hard it is to beat NHL goaltenders from distance like that and make them look like, U9s essentially.
Yeah.
It's crazy what he's doing this year. Yeah, I hate to say it too, Cass, but I think he's got the heart kind of locked up as we speak now, what he's doing.
Well, somebody in the nasty chat says if McKinnon drops 50 goals on 130 points, he might end up winning the Hart. But if Matthews finishes with 76,
If he finishes 70.
if he hits 70,
How can you not?
Yeah.
How can you not?
Yeah.
70 goals
Because
is ridiculous.
Like, how do you replace that? And I know you can make the argument, well, how do you replace 130 points and 50 plus goals? Rightfully so, but you can't replace a guy that scores 70 plus goals.
Yeah.
You can't.
No.
What about where was it going to go with this with Matthews?
And it's way sexier goals too. Like, it's like home runs or RBIs.
Yeah. Well, I was going to point out maybe the most ridiculous stat of all of it from an Edmonton perspective is he has more goals than Draisaitl and McDavid combined this year. Which, think about like how good those two guys have been recently. The fact that he's got more goals than both of them combined is kind of insane. Now, McDavid this year, and this was like last night after the game, watching the post game, and then seeing some of the replies to a couple of my tweets. People were all over Connor McDavid for not shooting the puck more. So we can get into that conversation because McDavid, who had a ridiculous goal-scoring season himself last year, has 21 goals in 51 games so far this year. So he's, I mean, at this pace, he's not trending for even a 40-goal season. Cass, is this because he's not shooting often enough and he's passing up some good shooting spots, or is there something else?
No, I think that's exactly it. I think there's been too many times this year where he has passed up some of those opportunities. Now the power play isn't clicking at the rate it was, and that's affected it. Where they had a historically good power play last season, and it's still very good, but not historically good this season. But there have been, and even yesterday, there was a couple of moments where it was like, okay, shoot. And he does look to pass. Now his vision is so good that he still creates. And how many assists does he have still in the last like 15 games?
He's got, I think it's 17 and 7 now or something like that. Like,
yeah, like just a stupid amount. So, I mean, far be it for me to say like he shouldn't be passing the puck, but there are some instances when you would like to see him shoot. And And we've seen that. And even last year, I mean, how often did we talk about how he was like that dual threat where he still would pass, but he was shooting a little more often too. And I haven't looked at his opportunities as far as where he's at. Right
Wilson, the volleyball is in and says he's a career low for shots right now from McDavid. He's down by 25% over last year.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Yes. Which, I mean, if you're down by 25%, I mean, you can expect to score 25% less goals, really. So it's not overly surprising.
Do you think it's a confidence thing? Do you think he doesn't think he can score when he shoots now? Because I think back, he's had like 2 wide open nets and missed the entire net, and he's Connor McDavid. I'm sure he's beaming with confidence, but there's probably a point where, maybe guys defer to shoot because they don't think they can score, and that might be part of it. I don't know. I look at some of the chances that he's had to shoot it. It seems like a guy that just doesn't think he can beat the goaltender. He's got to do something else.
Maybe he's just he's got 21 goals right now and 51, so that puts him on pace for like high 30s. Prior to the 64 he buried last year, which he had 352 shots. Like last year just seemed like he was putting everything on net. But prior to the 64, he had 44, he had 33 and 56, he had 34 and 64, he had 41 and 78, he had 41 and 82. Like maybe he is sort of like a 45-goal guy. Maybe that's kind of what it is, and then you tax on 90 assists or whatever and can take a run at 130, 140 points because he got 64 assists so far in 51 games. But he's pacing towards like a 240-shot season, which is over 100 shots less than he had last year. So, I don't know. I'm trying to.
I mean, far be it for me to tell him to how do you tell Connor McDavid what he should do offensively? Yeah. It's so weird to say.
21 power play goals last year. You brought the power play. He had 21 power play goals last year. In his career prior to that, he never had more than 11. So far this year, he's got 5.
Okay. Well, he's not shooting the puck. Like he would come off that left side, and he was ripping it past guys from like the face-off dot, right? He was using the defenseman as a screen. I haven't seen him do that at all. Like he's deferring and trying to go backdoor to Leon most cases with that shot.
He would just come in before he swoop and then go in.
Yeah. So
MCKK on the Nasty Chat over on YouTube says core muscle injury still nagging maybe, and that's why he's deferring more than ever.
I don't think so.
I don't know. He's got. I mean, I think prior to yesterday, and he still had 2 more points last night at home. In their last 9 home games, he's got like 27 points or something.
Yeah.
Like it's just most of them are.
But it would open up so much more because watch goalies now. They're cheating. They're cheating when he has the puck because he has his positioning of the stick sometimes is in a passing location. Like it's not really a threat to shoot.
This text is in. It says, guys, Ovi had 65 in the dead puck era. Prime Ovi would probably hit 80 these days. What do you think? It's only 15 more. It's only 15 more than he had in a bit of a dead puck era there. In the what was his 65 year? That would have been like 2007-ish. Goals weren't being scored like they were today back then.
Yeah, no, it's a fair comment, but you can't compare then to now. I mean, and he's not in his prime now. Matthews is.
Yeah.
And Matthews currently is the best goal scorer. Now, Ovi is one of the best goal scorers of all time, maybe the best goal scorer of all time, arguably. Still has the potential from a number standpoint to hit that, maybe. If he sticks around and stays healthy, can actually put a few more pucks away, he still has potential to hit that. So, yeah, Ovi, would he put more up now? Probably. I safe to say.
I think Prime Ovi would put up more now than.
I mean, yeah, but he's not prime right now. I mean, Matthews is.
Ovechkin, the year he had 65, it was 2007, 2008. He had 65 goals that year. Alexander Semin had 26. Brooks Lake had 21. That's some Pavel Bure, Florida Panthers stuff. That season with Bure and the Panthers is the one that still blows my mind. Yeah, how about this one? In 2001, Pavel Bure had 59 goals in 82 games with 33 assists for 92 points. Victor Kozlov was second on the team with 14 goals and 37 points. 37 points, second on the team. Bure had 92 that season, which is just one of the most ridiculous goal scoring seasons. And the year before he had 58, but they had Ray Whitney on that team, and Whitney had 29, and Mark Parrish had 26. But the year after that, I mean, he was just all by himself.
Yeah.
5 minutes left here. What do you guys got going on? What do you got going on this weekend, boys? What's happening?
Hockey. I think I'm going to go to the Flames game.
That's a good one. Saturday night.
So,
and what's this? You're at the mall tomorrow working a bingo.
Oh, yeah.
And we got our EST watch party at Hudson's at Bourbon Street.
I'll
pop by?
I'll pop by after.
Okay, good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Hear about Tommy Gazzola giving $10 gift certificates to guys and $20 gift certificates to girls.
He's a smart man.
That Tommy Gazzola is always on point, man. He's always on point. Cass, what do you got going on this weekend? Classic mute scenario. I love it. Start the episode muted, end the episode muted. Guys, I think you're still muted. There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Well, we got pre and post. Watch some hockey. Girls got some hockey. I don't know what else. I haven't looked.
We got Saturday. We're going on Saturday to Southgate to check out. There's like a Star Wars collection.
Lego?
It's like no, I think it's just like a individual's Star Wars memorabilia and like prop collection. So we're going there to Southgate on Saturday morning. Yeah, it ends on the 26th. So you might want to move quick if you want to check it out. And then Marshall's got another full ice game on Saturday afternoon, but Elizabeth's practicing also at Collingwood. So the Nielsen kids will be on both ice at the same time.
Nice.
So that'll be busy. Then Sunday we're playing in a charity game with the Heavy Hockey Network.
Yeah.
Edmonton Sports Talk team versus Heavy Hockey Network team. Raised $1,850 in an auction yesterday on the Nielsen show, so that was good. We got a couple of coaches coming to look after us. Myself, YouTube Trav, Zacticum, Tommy Gazzola, with a bunch of people who signed up to kind of play in the event and raise some money for the Sexual Assault Center of Edmonton. Should be Rob Clark's coming out to sing the anthem.
No way.
Yeah, we're doing it at the DCA. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm looking forward to it. I haven't played in a charity game since Hockey Helps the Homeless or Alzheimer's, whichever one was the last. Yeah, Hockey Helps the Homeless comes after the Alzheimer's.
I can't wait for that.
And so it should be fun. It's our first time, and if Team EST loses, we'll have to have a talk about it on Monday here and kind of get things back on track around here.
Might have to have a coaching change.
That's ridiculous. 2 games: Minnesota, Calgary. They get both of them. They split them. What do you think happens?
I think they're winning both these games. I'm gonna say it's going to look like a completely different Oilers team these next 2 games. We're going to get closer to that full 60 minutes of hockey. It's not total domination, but they're going to be a lot better.
Cass, what do you think?
Total domination the whole weekend.
Whole weekend. There we go. D. White says, guys, I think we should wait for Matthews to hit 60 before we talk about 70. He's got a long way to go. He needs 9 more goals to get to 60, or he's going to get 60. Boy, if he didn't, that'd be quite the discussion. That's going to do it for 2 guys and a goalie today. I'll be back with the Nielsen Show tomorrow morning right here at Edmonton Sports Talk. Replay of the Nielsen Show coming up right now on TuneIn and EdmontonSportsTalk.com. For Matt Kassian and Joaquin Gage, I'm Dustin Nielson. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll talk to you on 2 guys next Tuesday.